Have you ever smiled in front of people but cried alone at night? Have you ever felt so tired inside that even making dua feels heavy? If your heart feels empty, lost, and weak, this message is for you. My dear brothers and sisters, feeling weak does not mean you are far from Allah. Feeling lost does not mean Allah has abandoned you. And feeling empty does not mean your heart is broken beyond repair. Sometimes it means Allah is gently calling you back. You see, we live in a world that drains the soul. A world that tells you to chase people, chase validation, chase success, chase applause. And when you finally sit down, your heart whispers, is this all? That emptiness you feel. It is not because you lack things. It is because your heart is longing for its creator. Allah reminds us in the Quran, verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. Not money, not fame, not people, only Allah. Feeling weak, lost, or empty is not a sign of Allah's anger. It is often a sign that Allah is calling you closer to Him, not pushing you away. Feeling weak, lost, or empty is not a sign that Allah is angry with you, nor is it proof that you have failed in faith. In fact, many times it is the exact opposite. When a person feels strong, independent, and self-sufficient, they often forget Allah. They rely on their own intelligence, their own plans, their own connections. But when weakness enters the heart, when confusion settles in, when emptiness grows despite having everything, that is often the moment Allah gently removes the illusion of control, so the servant finally turns back to Him. This feeling is not rejection, it is invitation. Think about it. If Allah truly wanted to abandon you, He would let you drown in distractions without ever questioning your life. He would let your heart become numb, but instead, He allows you to feel unsettled. He allows you to feel that something is missing. Why? Because your heart was not created to be filled with the dunya. It was created to be filled with the remembrance of Allah. That discomfort you feel inside is your soul whispering, I need my Lord. Many people misunderstand hardship. They assume that ease means Allah is pleased and difficulty means Allah is angry, but this is not how Allah works. Sometimes Allah gives ease as a test, and sometimes He gives hardship as mercy. When Allah loves a servant, He draws them closer, and closeness does not always come through comfort. Sometimes it comes through brokenness, sometimes it comes through nights of tears, moments of silence, and days when you don't even know how to explain what hurts. The prophets, peace be upon them, were the most beloved to Allah, yet they faced the deepest pain. They were not spared from sadness, fear, or loneliness. They were tested because their hearts were meant to rise higher. So when you feel weak, do not immediately accuse yourself of being distant from Allah. Instead, ask yourself, maybe Allah is bringing me closer in a way I don't yet understand. Allah knows that sometimes the only way to bring a servant back is to make the world feel heavy. When life feels perfect, people delay repentance. They say, later. When life breaks them, they finally say, Ya Allah, I need you. And that sentence alone is beloved to Allah. Your weakness humbles you, and humility is beloved to Allah. Your confusion makes you ask, and Allah loves those who ask Him. Your emptiness pushes you toward dua, and dua is worship. Even when you feel lost, Allah knows exactly where you are. You may not see the road ahead, but Allah sees the entire journey. You may feel like your heart is falling apart, but Allah is rebuilding it in ways you cannot yet see. He removes false support, so you stop leaning on people who cannot save you. He removes temporary comforts, so you seek eternal peace. And He allows pain, so your heart becomes soft again. Never think that your tears go unnoticed. Allah sees the tears you wipe away before anyone notices. He hears the dua you whisper when words fail you, and He knows the battles you fight in silence. Feeling weak does not make you less of a believer. Sometimes it makes you a more sincere one. Strength in Islam is not pretending everything is fine. Strength is turning to Allah when nothing feels fine. So do not run away from Allah because you feel broken. Run toward Him because you are broken. Do not say, I will return when I am strong. Return now in your weakness. Allah does not ask you to come perfect. He asks you to come honest. And when you come to Him with a heart that admits, Ya Allah, I cannot do this without you, that is the moment His help begins to descend. Remember this deeply. Allah is closer to you in your weakness than you ever were in your strength. Your feeling of being lost is not the end of your journey. It may be the very beginning of guidance. Nothing fills the heart except the remembrance of Allah. Worldly success, people and validation can never replace the peace that comes from a connection with Allah. Nothing in this world can truly fill the human heart except the remembrance of Allah. This is a reality many people only discover after years of chasing what they thought would bring happiness. People believe that once they achieve success, gain recognition, find love, or collect wealth, the emptiness inside will disappear. For a short time, it may feel like it has. There is excitement, a rush, a sense of achievement. But slowly, quietly, the heart returns to the same question. Why do I still feel empty? Allah created the heart with a specific purpose. It was not designed to be filled with the dunya. It was designed to know its creator. When the heart is filled with everything except Allah, it will always feel incomplete. You can surround yourself with people and still feel lonely. You can be praised and still feel unseen. You can own more than you ever dreamed of and still feel poor inside. This is because the heart recognizes only one true source of peace, and that is Allah. Allah tells us clearly in the Quran that hearts find rest only in His remembrance. Not some rest, not temporary relief, real, deep, lasting peace, the kind of peace that stays even when life shakes you, the kind of peace that carries you through loss, fear, and uncertainty. Worldly things can distract the heart, but they cannot heal it. They can entertain the mind, but they cannot settle the soul. Many people try to silence their emptiness with constant noise, music, scrolling, conversations, entertainment, achievements, relationships. Silence feels uncomfortable because silence allows the heart to speak. And when the heart speaks, it often says, I am far from Allah. Instead of listening, people drown that voice. But the emptiness grows stronger because the heart is asking for what it was created for. This is why a person may feel most empty after committing sins, even if those sins promised pleasure. Sin creates a distance between the heart and Allah, and distance from Allah always feels heavy, even if the world is smiling at you. On the other hand, a person may have very little in this world, yet their heart feels light because it is connected to Allah. They remember Him often. They turn to Him in hardship and ease. Their heart knows where to return. Look at the lives of the prophets, peace be upon them. They did not live lives of constant luxury or comfort. Many of them faced rejection, poverty, and pain. Yet their hearts were the most peaceful hearts to ever exist. Why? Because their hearts were filled with the remembrance of Allah. When everything else was taken away, Allah remained, and He was always enough. When you remember Allah, you are reminding your heart of its home. Salah is not just physical movement. It is a moment where the heart reconnects. Dhikr is not just words on the tongue. It is nourishment for the soul. Dua is not just asking. It is admitting that nothing else can help you the way Allah can. Each act of remembrance slowly cleans the heart from the dust of dunya that has settled on it. This is why returning to Allah may feel difficult at first when you have been distant. The heart has grown used to other attachments. But once you persist, once you push through that initial heaviness, something begins to change. The heart softens, tears come more easily, calm enters quietly, and you begin to realize that this was what you were missing all along. People often say, I don't feel anything in worship anymore. But feelings return when sincerity returns. Start even when you feel empty, especially when you feel empty, because remembrance is not the reward for peace, it is the path to peace. Allah does not ask you to feel perfect before you remember Him. He asks you to remember Him so He can heal what feels empty. If your heart feels restless today, do not assume something is wrong with you. Assume your heart is calling you back to Allah. Nothing else will fill that space. No person can stay forever. No success lasts. No comfort is permanent. But Allah remains. And when Allah is placed back at the center of the heart, the emptiness slowly fades, replaced with a peace the world can never give and can never take away. Weakness is where true strength begins. When you turn to Allah sincerely in your lowest moments, He replaces pain with guidance, peace, and ease. Weakness is often misunderstood. People think strength means never breaking, never crying, never feeling overwhelmed. But in reality, true strength begins the moment a person admits, I cannot do this on my own. In Islam, weakness is not something to be ashamed of. It is often the doorway to the deepest connection with Allah. And a person reaches the end of their patience, their plans, and their energy. They finally stop pretending to be in control. And that is when reliance on Allah truly begins. Human beings were never created to carry life alone. Yet many people exhaust themselves trying to be strong without Allah. They rely on their minds, their resources, their status, and their relationships. For a while it works. Then something happens that shatters the illusion. A loss, a failure, a heartbreak, a fear that cannot be controlled. Suddenly all that confidence disappears and the heart feels fragile. But this fragility is not failure. It is honesty. It is the heart finally acknowledging its need for its Creator. Allah loves when His servant turns to Him in humility. Arrogance distances a person from Allah, but weakness softens the heart. When you feel weak, your dua becomes sincere, your tears become real, your dependence becomes genuine. You stop making demands and start making pleas. And Allah is close to those who call upon Him with broken hearts. Look at the lives of the prophets, peace be upon them. They were the strongest of people, yet they experienced moments of intense weakness. They faced fear, grief, loneliness, and exhaustion. They cried to Allah. They asked for help. They waited patiently when answers were delayed. Their strength was not in pretending they were unaffected. Their strength was in trusting Allah completely when they had nothing else to hold on to. Weakness teaches you where your true support lies. When you are strong, you may forget Allah. When you are weak, you remember Him constantly. You speak to Him more. You think of Him more. You need Him more. And this need brings you closer than comfort ever could. Many people only learn how close Allah is when they feel like they are falling apart. This is why Allah does not always remove weakness immediately. Sometimes He allows it to remain so your heart stays connected. If Allah gave you instant relief every time you felt low, you might return to self-reliance. But when relief is delayed, reliance deepens, your trust grows, your patience strengthens, your faith matures. True strength is not the absence of fear, it is moving forward despite fear while trusting Allah. True strength is not having all the answers, it is believing that Allah does. True strength is not controlling the outcome, it is surrendering the outcome to Allah while doing your best. This kind of strength cannot be built in ease. It is built in moments when you feel weak, uncertain, and tired. When you turn to Allah in weakness, something powerful happens. Allah replaces panic with calm. He replaces confusion with clarity. He replaces despair with hope. Not always immediately and not always in the way you expect, but always in the way that is best for your soul. Sometimes the situation does not change right away, but you change. Your heart becomes stronger, your faith becomes firmer, your patience becomes deeper. Never think that Allah looks down on you because you feel weak. Allah is not impressed by perfection. He is pleased by sincerity. He does not ask you to come to Him strong. He asks you to come to Him truthful. A servant who says, Ya Allah, I am weak, help me, is closer to Allah than a servant who says, I am fine, I don't need help. So if today you feel exhausted, overwhelmed, or unable to continue, do not see it as the end. See it as the beginning of real strength. Place your trust in Allah. Lean on Him fully. Let your weakness push you into His mercy. Because when you rely on Allah, even the weakest heart becomes stronger than anything this world can break.